Hardtails are a great cost-effective way to enjoy mountain biking, but if you're not sure whether you're best off with a cross-country hardtail like this BIG.NINE or a trail hardtail like this BIG.TRAIL, then keep watching because I'm going to explain the differences between the two styles of bike to help you decide which one would suit you best and why. Both of these bikes are perfectly capable of getting you out into the wild, but while mountain biking is their job, they're very different tools, honed to thrive in specific areas. If your buzz comes from an elevated heart rate, the flood of endorphins and the thrill of speed, uphill or down, then a cross-country bike is the natural choice to help you do that. On the other hand, if you want to get your heart beating with adrenaline rather than effort, the trail bike is the perfect choice. It's going to help you ride the sort of trails that will have your pulse rising just by looking at them. A cross-country bike like this BIG.NINE XT is all about turning your effort into forward motion as efficiently as possible. Everything about this bike is focused on weight reduction and speed, with a lightweight frame and components and fast rolling tyres. To that end, this bike has a lightweight carbon fibre frame with 29-inch wheels. Up front, there's relatively little fork travel to improve efficiency, with just 100mm of travel on offer from this RockShox fork. It's possible to turn it into a fully rigid at the touch of this bar-mounted remote, so if you need to put the hammer down in a sprint or you're out of the saddle on a long climb, you won't waste any energy making the fork go up and down. That's energy better spent making you go forwards fast. These tyres have a very low profile tread pattern, and they also have a very thin, supple casing, so none of your energy is wasted as drag. They're also mounted on rims with a relatively narrow profile, something that also helps reduce rolling resistance, as well as the rotating mass of the wheel and tyre that you need to accelerate. You'll also notice that this bike has flat bars and a long stem. This is to get your riding position low at the front to reduce aerodynamic drag at the generally higher speeds you'd be doing on a cross-country bike. The back end of this BIG.NINE uses these specially sculpted seat stays that are shaped like leaf springs to add in an element of give. That's the opposite to the chainstay and bottom bracket junction, where everything is oversized to increase the stiffness and hence efficiency. This bike also uses a fixed carbon seat post rather than a dropper post, which adds comfort and reduces weight, though it is possible to fit a dropper post if you like. It's when we come to frame geometry that the difference in tent between these two kinds of bike becomes crystal clear. Because a cross-country bike needs to be just as adept at climbing, descending and riding on the flat, the geometry is designed to keep the rider's weight central, especially when riding seated, which is of course the most efficient place to be. The reach is shorter than the trail hardtail because it comes much easier to shift the weight over either end of the axle without a huge amount of body movement, allowing a skilled rider to maintain traction. The head angle is also steeper, giving lightning fast steering responses. This BIG.TRAIL has a radically different frame shape. The frame reach is much longer, giving the rider more space to move about on the bike when stood up, while the slacker head angle and longer wheelbase mean much more stability at high speed and on rough or steep terrain. The frame is also made from durable aluminium, and it's designed to take all the use and abuse you can throw at it. Up at the front there's this 140mm travel fork with beefy, larger diameter chassis to help cope with rougher terrain. The bike still uses 29-inch wheels, but both the tyres and rims are larger diameter and the tread pattern is much more aggressive for grip at the expense of rolling speed. A wide riser handlebar gives extra leverage in the corners, and it's paired to a short stem for rapid steering reactions, a combination that also gives a higher, more upright riding position, which is great to stop you getting pitched over the bars on steep trails. The bike comes with a long travel dropper post as standard, and the low standover height means it's easy to get your weight low down, which can make all the difference on tricky trails. The BIG.TRAIL also has a pretty steep seat angle to offer a good seated climbing position despite all that extra reach out in front of you. Both bikes use a wide range single ring drivetrain and powerful hydraulic brakes, though the BIG.TRAIL has larger diameter rotors for increased power at the expense of weight. Basically, all the kit on the trail bike is built around durability, while the cross-country bike is all about reducing weight. While all these differences are relatively small on their own, they all add up to two radically different riding experiences. If you want to hit technical rough trails and your kind of riding is best described as winch and plummet, then the trail bike is going to be your natural partner. It's built to be burly, so if you don't mind a little bit more effort on the climbs, it will more than reward you on the downhill, making it ideally suited to sessioning tracks, getting your lines perfect and going harder and faster each time. Obviously, all this means a little bit more risk of falling off, which is why baggy kit and knee pads are the trail rider's uniform. If you're all about covering the maximum amount of distance and doing it all at warp speed, then a cross-country bike makes the most sense for you. It's designed to be as capable uphill as it is on the flat, and while the shorter travel and quick handling isn't quite as stable on descents, you'll be able to weave it through trees at warp speed. It's basically the perfect partner for escaping off over horizon and into the wilderness. Of course, there's no point having all this speed on tap and having it stolen by your baggy kit flapping about, which is why the cross-country rider is no stranger to full lycra. Even a helmet peak and leg hair can get removed in search of shaving seconds off your personal best. I hope this video has given you a better understanding of how a cross-country hardtail differs from a trail hardtail, both in the kit they use, the geometry and the riding intent. You can find out more about the BIG.TRAIL and the BIG.NINE by following the links in the description down below. And if you've not already subscribed, make sure you do for more regular video updates. Just follow the link over here. You can also check out our mountain bike playlist over here. If you've got any questions at all, just pop them down in the comments below and we'll do our best to answer them for you. As ever, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.